My dinner with Andre. I could always live in my art, but never in my life. When I was 10, all that I thought of was art and music, and now that I am 36, all I think about is money and how to survive. My name is Wallace Shaw and I am a playwright, and I am on my way to meet Andre Gregory, my old friend whom I was avoiding for the past year. Over a course of dinner, Wallace and Andre discussed spontaneously of various themes about life. In the first story the following questions are: who am I? Why am I here? Where do I come from and where am I going? Andre tells the story about the grown-ups who learn how to play again. Play is the key word because when one plays, he has no goal in mind, no purpose, he simply plays. Grown-ups play games, children only play. Adults try to discover an inner child within themselves, a child that has been lost to this harsh world we live in. Sadly, one is forced to learn how to play again. Friend of Andre's in Poland explains a game called Beehive where Andre is given a role of leader and suddenly hundreds of people walks into a room and one simply has to improvise. Improvisation is a kind of play where you simply experiment and don't care about result but only focus on a present moment. Such is the nature of life, an experiment. Andre continues to pose a question what it means to be truly alive. In past, Andre was always thinking about death and he has come to realization that all we do is think, but never live. Such thought come to us in the most unexpected moments. For example, once when he was being buried alive for a half an hour in a grave, he was terribly afraid, but afterwards, he was reborn again. Sadly, shortly after a great realization, he went back to his old life. After going back to old and familiar place of New York, he was suddenly stricken by the feeling that he had squandered his life. He realized that world we live in affects us in such horrible way, and that is rather upsetting. We live in a dream worlds of our own creation. We are not looking what is in front of us. For example, when his mother was in hospital in an awful shape, doctor only saw the part of a problem, but never a person as a whole. It's like we are all in a state of trance walking around like zombies. Humans today are unconscious machines that worry all day long. No one says anything directly, but through jokes as if they are secret codes. We all become performers, and we are no longer genuine. We are living up to standards of fantasy. For example, father tries to become an ideal figure for his child, but in reality he has no idea what he's doing. We try to learn things through self-help books, but we only perform certain roles and therefore hiding the reality of ourselves. We all live in automatic pilot mode. Our minds are focused on these goals and plans which in themselves are not reality. Goals and plans are fantasy, they are part of a dream life. The idea that everybody today has to have a goal in life is ridiculous. It's absurd. Humans live each moment by habit. Same stories over and over again. Thus life becomes habitual. Things rarely go haywire. If we operate by habit all the time, then we are not really living. Because if we for example eat out on habit, then you are not tasting your food. Fine example are electric blankets which puts us in a state of comfort. On the other side, when we experience cold in winter, we experience a real world. We seek comfort in technology, thus we live in a fantasy world of our own making. In order to truly live, we must destroy fantasy life, we must destroy dream life, we must destroy imaginary life. We must come to a realization that all the world is a theater, and we are just actors. We are deeply asleep. People deep inside know that everyday life is cruel and the world is a bad place, so they seek out an exit to fantasy world, a magic, opposition to the reality of world. Question is how to wake people up. Main problem is that people live in a prison of their own making. We don't have capacity to leave prison or even see it. The cities that we live in are prisons that we created, and freedom lies in nature. We become spoiled children. That system brainwashed us to such degree that we all became blind to the chains that bind us. We all became bored, and bored people are asleep, and asleep won't say no. How can one escape the prison before it's too late, and where shall we go even if we escape, because the whole world has become prison? Therefore we become robots. We feel nothing. We think nothing. We are only trying to survive, and we enjoy our daily routine because it's safe and comfortable. Some think that science will save us and that science will give us answers, but all it did was left us in the cold. We are all acting a role, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter. In our real life, we are robots. Andre suggests in the end that we should all cut out the noise and that start living from moment to moment, as if there's no tomorrow. In the beginning it will only be as if, but by and by you will become aware that as if is the only reality. We live through what we create, what we become. We live in artificial worlds of our own creation. Rarely do we see someone actually living, but how could we when we lost the sacred art of play? Reason that we never live is because we are never in the present, but always either in the past or the future, but never right here and right now. We are creatures of habit that live in a prison of our own creation, and we are afraid to leave the prison, break the habit, forever stuck in the same circle that keeps on spinning until one day we realize that we could have lived, but all we did was planning for the future. Suddenly, like our main protagonist Wallace Shaw at the end of the movie, we take a cab and go on the trip down the memory lane, and we realize how fast the life flashed in front of our eyes. I could always live in my art, but never in my life.